So one of the things I've found in trial that's really effective is trying to come up with demonstratives that are easy to understand that talk about the bigger picture. And as an aside, you can use Claude or ChatGPT to get ideas. You can use people in your office as an informal focus group to say, what would be some ways that I could show in a demonstrative kind of an example, an illustrative example of what I'm trying to get across. And I remember in my first groundwater contamination case, I was trying to figure out, how do I convey how poisonous this chemical is when it gets into the groundwater? So I talked to an expert, and I think I went on chat as well, and I'm like, this is toxic at 5 parts per billion. What does that mean in parts per million? What does that mean in how much of it in a gallon? What does that mean in how much of it in a swimming pool? How much does that mean if you put it into a bucket? And I realized that I've kind of whittled it down, that if I had a 5-gallon bucket, just that, and it had that chemical in it, that it would pollute to a point of being toxic, this huge amount of water. So I remember in the trial, I went to Home Depot and bought a bucket. And I bring this bucket in, and I'm in opening statements, and I pick up the bucket and I said, let me give you an example of what this means if it's spilled into the groundwater. And if this 5-gallon bucket was filled of their chemical, of which they've sold hundreds of millions of gallons of this chemical in this city. If we filled this 8-story courthouse completely with water, it was empty and filled with water, and then I put 8 of these courthouses next to each other filled with water. We're all covered in water in every floor, times 8. And I dumped this bucket into that water. Every one of us, if we drank it, would die. Now, isn't that a goddamn demonstration? And by the way, that bucket sat next to me for the entire trial, right? Defense expert. Well, this isn't that bad of a chemical. Look at that bucket. The simple demonstrative meant everything in that particular trial. When you think about, they wouldn't have cracked their skull open when they fell out of that bed if they had a fall mat. Well, now you have a fall mat that you bought off of online. I'm not going to buy anything from Amazon anymore because of their DEI problem, but you buy it somewhere else, Costco. They see that visceral floor mat. Well, why didn't you buy this floor mat? How difficult could it be if the lawyer just bought it at the store and brought it into court? Why didn't you have it? So when you're thinking about things and you want to give jurors a visceral thing to attach on, that bucket gave me way more arguments than anything I could have possibly have said. That floor mat gave way more arguments than anything you could have possibly said. You learn that by thinking about it in advance, by talking to non-lawyers, right? God forbid that we only talk to lawyers. Run this through your office. Have people come into your conference room and say, I want to convey how bad this is. What kinds of things would make a difference to you? Put it on ChatGPT. Call other people. Call me. Let's brainstorm. Right? These are the types of things that win cases. These are the types of things you bring that bucket into the defense expert's deposition and you say, tell me how much of this bucket. I mean, the defense is like, oh my God, he's thinking about trial. He's preparing. Oh my God, he's making arguments already. Oh my God, dip, 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 dip. It makes a difference. But it's true because you are thinking about the case, because you are thinking about trial. It's not some smoke and mirrors. You're doing the necessary things to become more persuasive and to win over the hearts and minds of the jurors with better evidence. So I'm happy to brainstorm. Happy to, I love this stuff. I am like a rancher and a law geek. I'm also an excellent dancer and I'm quite funny. But putting that aside, how we got on that, I don't know, but check out my Instagram, hilarious. But I'm happy to help you free of charge. Just reach out. My info's in the bio. the video description, my cell phone. Just reach out. Come on now, demonstratives.